Hey you guys, welcome back to our channel, Marriage and Medicine. This week it's just you and me, and rightfully so, because I'm going to be talking about motherhood, specifically some things that I wish I knew before I became a mom, and just some tips and things that I've learned along the way. You guys know, or if you don't know, we have a little girl. Her name is Naya, and she is now 2. And so I wanted to kind of share some things I've learned over these last 2 years, and even some things I learned with her while I was pregnant. So the first thing I wish I had knew before I got pregnant, before I had a baby, was that it hurts so bad when you pee after you've had a baby. I don't mean to be TMI, but if you have never had a baby before, like I hadn't, you don't know that after you've had a baby, obviously, you do go through some kind of tear usually, and with that comes stitches and healing and all of that. And so when you go to the bathroom those first few times, I don't even know, maybe for like the first month or two, it stings really, really bad. So what they do is they give you this squeezy bottle. I don't know what the proper term is, but you get this bottle and you fill it up with water. And I will never forget the first time I went to the bathroom when the nurse was helping me. She gave me this bottle and I'm like, what is this supposed to be for? And she told me, like, you spray that on yourself while you use the bathroom. And at the time, I'm like, okay, didn't think anything of it until I felt that burning sensation. It is real. So that's the first thing you can expect. If you've never had a baby before, never been a mom, expect that to happen, and it is 100% normal. The second thing that I wish I had knew was how legit those ice pads are after you've had a baby. So I did know, somebody did tell me about creating ice pads for yourself, because again, after you've had a baby, like you're torn, you're trying to heal, going through stitches and all of that, and it's really, really painful, especially down there. So I had found a recipe to make ice pads, for lack of better words. It's essentially, you get the biggest pad you can find ever. And it's a mix of aloe vera, now I can't remember, of course, but it's a mix of a ton of different things. And essentially you'll spread it on the pad, you'll fold it back up, put it in a Ziploc bag, and you'll store it in your freezer. And those are there for you when you come back home from having your baby. Trust me, they are a lifesaver. They work. Do not doubt that ice pads are going to be something that saves you when you need it after your baby. Something else I wish that I took more seriously is that mom brain is a legit thing. Like, even when you're pregnant, that is a thing. I thought it was kind of like, okay, people just say that. It's a real thing. I remember trying to tell TJ about something, and in the middle of my sentence, no lie, I just forgot. Like, my mind went blank. It just literally was like a clean slate. So mom brain is a real thing. It does happen even when you're pregnant. So expect that to happen, and happen a lot. And then something else that I didn't take too seriously either, this is number 4, is that mom guilt is a real thing as well. So this one typically happens more so when you've actually had your baby, but I didn't believe how real it could actually be. And I learned after the first few months that that is a thing. So what mom guilt is just essentially you feel guilty for anything almost. Like, if you're gonna leave your child with a babysitter so you can go out for a walk, you feel guilty that you left your child behind. Or you could feel guilty that you're gonna go back to work after your maternity leave. You can feel guilty that, I don't know, just anything that involves your child, and you feel like you're not doing enough, or you're not giving them enough, or that you should have done this better, or you could have done it in a different way. That is a real thing. Expect for that to happen pretty much all of the time. You just kind of learn how to navigate it and how to deal with it, and you kind of learn ways to not let that play into your thoughts and let it dictate how you are as a mom. The 5th thing I wish I knew before we had Naya was that my labor wasn't going to be as bad as I thought. So I don't typically have a very good pain tolerance. And so, of course, having a baby, I just knew like this was not going to be good for me at all. I knew I wanted to have an epidural, and I knew I wanted one as soon as I possibly could get it. And so I was just really scared about the contractions. I was really scared about just the labor itself and pushing her out and everything. Just anything that was going to involve pain, I was terrified for. And I surprisingly did a lot better than I thought. So when I started having contractions at home, we waited an hour before we went in. And the entire time through those contractions, they were painful, but I handled it a lot better than I thought I was. I was expecting like that I was going to be crying and just irritable and angry, and I was able to breathe through it and to stay calm, and TJ helped a lot with that as well. Going to the hospital, I got my epidural probably within the first, I don't know, maybe 2-3 hours. So I didn't have to go through contractions too much there either. Again, I had TJ to help me, and my nurse that was there was helping me to breathe through it and to get through it. And so I handled that part a lot better than I was expecting that I would. And then of course, once I got the epidural, I couldn't feel anything at all. So I was worried that when you get an epidural, when it comes time to actually push, that somehow you would still feel everything and that it would be like miserable. And it wasn't that way at all. For me, they did wait because the way it was set up, there's a button you push. And so like every, I guess maybe 5 minutes, you can push a button, and that epidural, it'll basically release that medicine for you so that you're not feeling anything. But they wanted to make sure that when it came time for me to push and deliver the baby, that I didn't have that epidural hindering my feelings during that time. So what they did is, I believe maybe 30 minutes or so before they knew that they were going to have me start pushing, they told me not to push the button anymore so that I wouldn't get any more medicine. So basically, I was able to still somewhat feel when was the time that I should push and when was the time I should not push. So even with that and not having as much pain medication like I did initially, it still wasn't a bad experience at all. Thankfully, I was able to handle, there wasn't really any pain there. I would say the only time I had pain was when it came to stitching up, because at that point, all the medication kind of wore off. And so that was uncomfortable. But the labor part itself, pushing, contractions, all of that, don't stress out about that too much. Don't try to think about it and analyze how it's going to happen. Just know that you're going to be just fine. Your body is used to this and can handle it, and you will handle it a lot better than you think. Number 6, something I wish I knew, which I'm learning every day, is that being a mom in general is hard. Even when you have help, I feel like a lot of people just assume if you're married or you have the baby's father involved in their life, that being a mom is just automatically easier. And to a degree, it can be easier when you have help, but at the same time, you do still experience those same feelings that any mom has. You can still experience moments where you feel burnt out and like you need a break, and like, you know, some days you question whether you're doing the right thing or not, or if you're making the best decisions or not. So even with help, even with being married, being a mom is still hard, and it still can have its challenges as well. So that is a normal thing. Everybody's gonna go through it, whether you're a single mom or a mom that's married. It is normal. Number 7, regardless of how much preparing you try to do, there is no way to be 100% prepared for being a mom. It doesn't matter how many books you read or how many podcasts you listen to or people that you ask for advice. Like, literally none of that matters at all. There's just no way that you're going to know everything you need to know. So the best way to just handle it is just to take things day by day, try things by trial and error, and see what works for you and your kid and what doesn't, and then just learn from that situation. Number 8, something that I wish people told me is that every woman's body is going to react and respond differently after pregnancy. So typically you see a lot of people that will celebrate bouncing back and losing all the baby weight instantly or within 6 weeks, and it's kind of almost normalized or thought that that's going to be a thing that happens for every single woman, when really that doesn't happen. I still haven't even lost all of my baby weight from having Naya, and so that is something that is normal. Every woman is different. Everybody's body is different, and so don't put the unrealistic expectation on yourself of that you need to lose all of the weight right after you've had your baby or right after your maternity leave is over. Your body may do that naturally on its own, but it is normal if it doesn't happen right away. It is normal if it takes time and if you have to put in exercising and nutrition to lose that weight. So don't feel like you have to lose all of the weight instantly, especially during your maternity leave. Try to focus during that time on just bonding with your child and learning your child and trying to become the best mom that you can be, really. Body weight and like bouncing back should not even be a thing on your mind in those first few months while you're trying to just learn and navigate being a new mom. Number 9, something I wish I knew, or at least I really ingrained it in my head, is that it's okay not to breastfeed, or it's even okay if you started out breastfeeding and then you figure out that it's not going to work for you anymore. I initially wasn't really interested in breastfeeding, but I did end up deciding that that was something I was going to do. And unfortunately, about 4 months in, my milk supply had drastically just decreased. I wasn't really able to make much milk at all, and so for me, I had to stop breastfeeding altogether and switch to formula, and at that time it just felt crushing, and it kind of just felt like I wasn't a good mom anymore because I wasn't breastfeeding my child. So don't feel like breastfeeding is the only option that you have. If you want to go for it and use it, that's fine, but if you have to use formula too, or if you just choose that you would rather use formula, that's fine too. There's no right or wrong way of feeding your child. I think for me, when I initially had to stop, I just was worried that her doctors and lactation consultants were just going to be really hard on me, and I was worried of what they were going to think and how they were going to treat me. But thankfully, everybody was really supportive, and I didn't have any harsh feedback or harsh reactions to that. So I was very glad. After I got past that point, I was just relieved that there wasn't any pressure on me as a mom. So don't feel like you have to do one way or the other. Do whatever you feel most comfortable with and whatever you feel like you want to do, period. And number 10, the last thing I wish I knew, this is the best advice I had ever heard, is to just make sure you keep you and your baby alive. Those first few months, you're trying to figure out all of this new life and you don't really know what to do. So I would just say during that time, just to focus on you and the baby. It's okay if, the housework has to go for a day, or you don't get to the laundry or cooking or whatever. As long as you and your baby are alive and you're happy and healthy and you two are taken care of, literally nothing else matters in that moment. Everything else can wait for another day and life will go on. So now that we've talked about some things I wish I knew as a new mom, these are some things that I've done that I feel like have helped me as I'm navigating through being a mom and going through new transitions. So the first one is having a consistent routine. I feel like this one has helped a lot. It's kind of changed as Naya's gone through different stages. The routines we did when she was a newborn isn't quite the same that we do now that she's a toddler, but having that routine of when you do specific things and having it at the same time every day and sticking to it it's just been something that has helped a lot. And so I feel like you need to establish a consistent routine, something that works for you and your child, and make sure that you stick to it to the best that you can. And if you feel like there's something that you're doing that just isn't really working, it's perfectly fine to take it out and try something new in its place and see if that works instead. Something else that I'm trying to be more conscious of doing is letting go when I need help or just need a break. When I first had Naya, and I remember like the first few months, we had our parents at different times offered to stay with her so we could go out and just do whatever. And it was hard for me initially because I just felt like, again, guilty for leaving. I just didn't want to leave her with anyone, even though they are her grandparents and like obviously they're not going to do anything to her. But I was just like scared to leave her with anybody. I just didn't feel like, I felt like I had to always be there to take care of her. And I remember, I think it was in the first few weeks of being at home, I had gave her to TJ so I could go shower. And it's like, as soon as I walked away and closed the door, she started screaming. And I came right back out and was just like, what's wrong? Does she need something? Or is she okay? And TJ's like, go. She's fine. Go take a shower. It's okay. And so that was something I had to learn and adjust to, is just letting go. And it's okay to get help. It's okay to like have someone there when you need a break, even if you have to hire somebody. I don't know that I have it like 100% down. I still sometimes when we go to leave her, I have those moments where I'm like, oh, I have to kind of tell myself like, it's okay, relax. Everything's gonna be fine. Don't stress about it. So I would definitely say make sure you do allow for people to help you. And then the last one that's helping me going through motherhood is to prioritize her and my needs over anything else. So like, again, when we talked about keeping you and baby alive, literally nothing else matters. You don't have to worry about doing laundry every day or cleaning every day, anything. As long as you and your baby are taken care of, you're good. Like, yes, at some point you're gonna have to tend to other things, but I feel like when we first have a child, we feel like we have to do all of the things all of the time, and you don't. You can have people to lean on to help you. If someone offers, like they wanna come and help you around the house, let the person come and help you. Like, don't feel bad that somebody has to come in and do a load of laundry for you, or if people wanna bring you meals, or even if they just want to hold the baby for you so you can go shower. Like, all of those things are perfectly fine. So if you are lacking in those areas and you feel like you should be doing more, I would encourage you to not be so hard on yourself and to let it go for the day. You can always come back to it on the next day. These are just some things that I have learned over the last 2 years as a new mom or first-time mom. Hopefully that is helpful for you. If you are a first-time mom yourself, make sure you drop in the comments if you have any questions, and feel free to share with me any tips that you have learned as a mom yourself so that maybe there's some things I can try too. So I will see you guys in the next video.